Hey y'all, I just wanted to come back and tell you guys about the trucking company that I initially started with, which was Schneider. And the training aspect of training was A plus. You know, they made sure that we understood the importance of safety. I will give them that. Some people have good experiences. It's just my experience was hell. It was not good at all. It started with pay. The equipment was very raggedy. I had like 3 different trucks. The very first truck that I was assigned was a Freightliner. It was 2020. It had a little issue with the fuel and water separator, which with them, they don't do an inspection. They have you do like a pre-trip on it, and then you tell the mechanic what's wrong with it. And I don't think that that's good at all. I think that the equipment should be inspected before it's reassigned. And so I did temporarily team during the holidays, and that was a 2022 international. Y'all, it came with the engine light on, saying that it needed maintenance. We literally went from the East Coast to the West Coast, thousands of miles, not thousands, but hundreds, over 1,000 miles, you know, probably like 4,000 in a couple weeks or something like that. Something like that. Anyway, the brakes went out. So I was very upset about that. That truck was in and out of the shop in only like a month and a half. Each truck that I received was in and out of the shop. And so I'm like, okay, maybe if I transfer, it'll be better. So I transferred to another OC, which was in Pennsylvania. Y'all, that truck was so raggedy. When I tell you it was raggedy, it had rust all over it. I took pictures. I'm gonna include the pictures at the end. I'm trying to make this brief as possible, but it's just a long journey. The first 5 months, like I know that I wanted to do trucking. I love driving. I had dreams of trucking. You know, 5 years ago I wanted to do it, but at the time, the situation, you know, they was like, no, they didn't want me to do it. Blase, blase. And so I made up my mind after I decided that it was time for me to move on. I had to get my life in order. I decided that this is what I'm going to do, and I did it. And by the grace of God, He kept me this long to this point. And so the last straw for me, the last one was a Freightliner Cascadia, and it was a 2018. The year doesn't matter. It's how they continue to inspect it and keep up the maintenance on it. You can't reassign raggedy trucks to drivers. That is unsafe. If your equipment is unsafe, I am unsafe, and all the other motorists on the road as well are unsafe. And so you can't, that's hypocritical when you preach safety and the equipment is not safe. And so the pay was dreadful. They promised 46 cents per mile. I was only getting about maybe 22 cents a mile is what my check stub said. I was only getting about 22 cents a mile. And even when I was teaming, they had to retroact pay because they weren't paying the teaming. I'm like, what are y'all doing in the office? When people work, they want their money. They want to get paid. For at least be honest, and if you're going to do 6 cents a mile, which is not a lot, do that. Don't give me less than that. And then still have me running here and there and everywhere. And so the last straw for me was when I ended up getting really sick, and I couldn't figure out, like, I was like really sick, because for me, I have really bad allergies. And so my stomach hurts, my head hurts, my face will swell up, my nose cavity will swell up, just a whole lot of different symptoms. I start to feel dizzy, and then it'll cause my bronchitis to flare up, where it's like you can't hardly breathe. Like your chest, the worse it gets, your chest start to hurt and you can hardly breathe. I know that it's not COVID because I always wear my mask. I always take precautions. Since it started way back when, that's what I've been doing. But I know when my allergies flare up really bad. So I know that it was the Holy Spirit told me to look up. I look up, y'all, it's leaks all in the top of the roof of this particular truck. mold and mildew in the light, because I guess it had been snowing and it continued to get worse over time. I don't know how long it had been there. I just didn't notice it, but I couldn't figure out why I kept getting sick. Long story short, I let them know I was like stuck in Indiana. I think it was. I was in Indiana, and I was stuck there for, whew, it was like in November. It was near Thanksgiving, I remember. And no, that was a different time. It was near, let me see, let me get my dates right, because I had two separate incidents, and I know I just kept getting more and more sick. But it was in December, because it was around the 23rd to the 25th, all up in there. And I called them and I was like, look, I'm getting worse. I feel weak. I'm mustering up everything. I need y'all to bring me in. I'm trying to have enough respect to bring your truck back to you. And so they routed me to the OC in Indiana. Supposedly, they removed the mold, they cleaned it out, they did this and that. The smell, y'all, was so strong till it just exacerbated all of my symptoms. Like, I just kept getting worse. And so that's when I called them and I kind of spazzed out. I was like, look, you guys need to route me back, like, right now. I said, I don't feel good. I'm out here by myself. I need you to route me back right now. I said, I need to go to the doctor, is what because I was that bad. So they end up routing me back. I had to keep my mask on and ride with the windows down, because the chemicals that they put in the truck was so strong, until it like dried my nose out, and then my nose started to bleed. So I get back to the OC in Pennsylvania. Y'all, they put you up in a hotel, not the best hotel. Once I got frustrated, they put me in a better hotel, but the one prior to that, the elevator wasn't working. They expect you to walk up the stairs. The hot water wasn't working the first night I was there. And so that's when they switched hotels. So when I got back, they took the truck, and I sat down with the manager, and the manager said, that's why you can't never believe what people say. They tell you one thing, and it's just all they know how to do is finesse. They'll finesse the hell out of you, and that's pretty much it. They're not going to do what they say. There are some out there that are honest, and they stick with what they tell you. That's what it is. Everybody's in line, from the recruiter on down to the DTOs or fleet managers or whatever you call them, to management. Everybody's on the same page. And so I sat down with the manager, and he was like, well, this is what I'm going to do. You can go and recover trucks. We will pay you $250 for each truck you recover. So that's what I initially did one time, y'all. They rented a vehicle for me to go and pick the truck up. The truck was so raggedy. Somebody else, these are trucks that other people abandoned, basically. The truck was so raggedy that it would not move. It wouldn't go up the hill. It's like, ugh. I know, my sound effects. And so it would not go up to the hill, because it was like at a truck stop, next to a truck stop, in like a dirt lot or something. It just was in a weird situation. The gas cap was gone. It was oil everywhere. The truck was a mess. The bumper, or the front bumper, was hanging off. Like, they wanted me to drive this thing back for, I think it may have been like 6 hours away, something like that. So I ended up having to call a tow truck. I had already turned in my rental vehicle, so I'm standing in the middle of a dirt lot with feces and trash, just standing there by myself in the middle of nowhere, don't know anyone there, and trying to get the rental company to come back and pick me up. I called around. Nobody had a rental car, or no one had a car available. So they had to send me an Uber to send me to a totally different town over to try to get a rental from the airport. Whole nother story. So I have pictures of the tow truck picking up this other truck that I was supposed to recover. So once I got back to the office, the promise that he made me was that, okay, you recover trucks, I'm going to try to find you another truck from somewhere else. Now, mind you, they have 2020s and 2022s sitting on the facility. I don't know if they're selling those. I don't know what it is, but the people that sit at driver services both of them, I heard them say that they had 2022s out on the lot. And so once he said that, he was like, I'm going to find you another truck. In the meantime, you can just recover vehicles, blah, 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 or recover trucks. That was the plan. And so they put me back in the hotel to wait for them to fix the situation and assign it to another new driver coming in. That's what they were going to do. And so the manager went on an extra 2 days off and put a jackass over the situation. Well, he said, well, we're going to go out and we're going to check it and we're going to give this back to you, is basically what they told me. They're going to put me back in the mildew and molded truck that all you did was spray chemicals in there, and that's it. And the chemical's so strong that you can't breathe. And we're going to put you back in that truck, even though it's making you sick, basically, is what this other person told me. And then his boss, which was a woman, we all walked out there to the truck. And she was like, can we get in? I said, well, I don't want to get back in there because it's exacerbating my symptoms. I don't feel good. I feel weak right now. I don't feel good at all. I end up having to go to the ER, or to urgent care. And so, of course, they put me on antibiotics to calm down my bronchitis. They gave me some kind of cough tablets or something and all of that. And so, and then instructed me to take allergy medicine combined with all of that to kind of make the swelling go down. Like my insides, y'all, was literally swelling from my chest, just my nasal cavity, everything. That's just how bad it was. So she gets in the truck and closed the door and sit there for a minute. She was like, yeah, it is really strong in here. So they called me the next day to come back, and they were like, well, we're gonna let it air out, the chemicals let air out a couple days, and we're gonna give you this truck back because we just don't have any trucks, is what they told me. We don't have any trucks anywhere. And so once they said that, I just kept feeling some kind of way. And I'm one that I'm going to pray and I'm going to ask for direction. I'm going to ask for guidance. Like, what do I need to do? I already had my answer, but I didn't want to do it. Like, you know how when God, and I tell you, or Jesus the Papa, I call him the Papa, when he tell you to do something and it's something you really don't want to do, you don't want to give up your job or whatever, then you sit in it and it continue to get worse, and you don't have a choice but to move on. You don't have a choice but to do what it is he told you to do. And so that the day before I quit, because I did quit, the day before, the guy didn't want to get me a room. Y'all, I had my car there, but where was I supposed to stay for the night? So I called overnight services and was like, look, I need a room. My truck is still in the shop and I need a room. So they got me this little raggedy room for the night. The jackass that was put in charge after the manager, he called me like right after I finished praying. He called and he was like, where are you? Did you call driver service to get a room? I was like, where else was I going to stay? Like, this is y'all fault. This is not my fault that you made me sick in your raggedy truck. The entire time I am what you would call a polite Polly. I am polite to everybody. I'll be respectful because that's how I was raised. But if you get the stone soldier to come out after I've had enough of you, I still wasn't rude to him the entire time. I was not rude to this man. And so he was like, are you in the parking lot? I said, well, what are you guys going to do about this truck? Because I was told that I was going to get another truck. And he was like, well, we'll just talk about it when you get here. He just was rude to me. And that's what just like, that was it for me. And so I didn't say anything. I didn't show my behind. I was like, well, let me get my things out of storage, because I had to put my things in storage out of the mildew and mold, and it was still there. When I looked up, it was still in the lights, because that's where I saw it, in the lights. And then it was water spots all over the top of the truck, the ceiling of the truck. And so I guess they couldn't get the lights out without, it probably would have cost a lot of money. With mildew and mold, you have to remove that entire section in order for it to be gone. You don't just spray chemicals on it and that's it. That's not how you handle mold and mildew. And so I tried to get my things out of storage first, because I wanted to use their cart to be able to just push it out to my car at one swoop. and they had like a little golf cart or something. And so the manager in driver service said that, well, they're busy right now. They're trying to get a table or something unloaded. So he just literally made me wait. And so I went ahead, I went back to where the DTL was. I didn't say not a word. I just gave him my tablet and I gave him my keys. And he rubbed his hands through his hair and dropped his head. I was like, I understand. I didn't say not a word, and I just walked out. When I went back up front, the man up front, the manager up front, his attitude changed, y'all, so drastically. He was so nasty. And he was like, I said, sir, I have a long drive. Do you know about how long it'll take? Can I go and get it out of storage? No, you can't go get it out of storage. Other people, things are in there. I ain't gotta steal, homie. I'm not gonna steal from nobody anyway. And I didn't go off on him. I remained calm. The guy, he finally went and got my things out of the storage unit, and he pulled around to where my car was, and I was able to load up my car, being nosy. And so I had like a 14-hour drive, and I just drove it in one. I know we're not supposed to, but I did. I drove it because I just wanted to get away from there. Instantly, when I was going to turn in that tablet to them, and when I left, I felt instant peace. Because, like I say, God will allow it to shake up and just be chaotic to get you out of that situation. And I always know for me, whenever he removes me from a situation, y'all remember this, a true person of God will bring blessings to your life or judgment to your life according to how you treat them. And so I'm grateful for the experience, I will say that, but nothing they did was the truth. It was miserable. I had to pick up raggedy trailers where I just literally refused, where the, oh my God, where the tire is just all just busted up. The rim is all bent up. Like, I'm telling y'all, raggedy trailers. There were times where I had to try to crank the arm to raise up the trailer, and I couldn't get the joint up. Like, I'm like sitting there just whining and whining. I'm exhausted. People riding right by you. They see you struggling, riding right. It's not their responsibility. But for me, out of respect, if I see somebody that need help and I can help them, that's what I'm going to do. And I realize I can't expect the same because it just doesn't happen. There are some kind people out here that have like helped me in the sense of like, if they see me, sometimes I don't need help and people help me anyway, and I don't be rude and say, well, I don't need you to help me. I have had to tell people that before and like kind of force, like, I got it, like I really do have it, because I'm gonna have to do it if you're not here anyway. I work hard. I don't be out here prissy and all this. I work hard, and so just like the next person. And so I can't tell someone to stay away from Schneider, but I'm telling you what my experience was. It was not a good experience. I'm gonna attach the pictures at the end. It was very stressful. I was getting depressed at times because I know that when you know it's something that you're supposed to be doing, like I literally had dreams of it like years ago, even until now, recent, I've had dreams about it. And so, and I totally do enjoy it. I love it. I don't like the rudeness and all of that go on in the unsafe situations. However, I have no control over that. All I can do is do what I'm supposed to do, basically. And so it's up to each individual. If you feel it's the right fit for you, you just make sure that you get in writing what they say they're going to pay you, what they say they're going to do, because it did not happen for me at all. And I'm telling y'all, I lost a lot of money working with that company. I had so many $100 checks, so many $200 checks, until it was ridiculous. And so the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to be done with this video, and I don't want to talk about this no more. I'm going to attach the pictures, because for me, I'm going to document. I have moved on, of course, and I've only been with this new company a month. What they said they're going to do, they have been doing. Some things I still don't agree with, but for me, it's always safety first, regardless. What is it that they always tell us, that we are the captain of the ship? I'm sorry, the light went out. Let me see if I can get some light in here. We are the captain of the ship. That's what it is. And so always remain safe no matter what. And so They promised guaranteed pay. That was another thing that they did. They never told us that, okay, the guaranteed pay is going to be only for 121 days. The guaranteed pay was only $900. That's still not a lot of money. They only paid us $10 an hour. They just started doing that. Once I started, that's when they started doing it in Georgia. And it was funny because the DTR asked me, how do you feel about that? I just told them that it was interesting. Like $10 an hour, that's not a whole lot of money. Like I made that when I was a kid, you know, starting out as a 16-year-old or 18-year-old. And so just get in writing what they say they're going to do for you, because they did not do not one thing they said that they were going to do for me. And so be safe travels, and don't let them run over you. Do what you're supposed to do. Have integrity even when no one's watching you. Do what you're supposed to do, because no one will be able to accuse you of anything. The truth will always prevail. And so thank you for watching this video, y'all. Be safe. Jesus be with you. Until the next video, y'all.